Now it is my great pleasure to introduce Mukesh. Mukesh Khatri is a 14-year-old who goes to Holliston High School. He is interested in origami, math, and economics. Now we shall welcome Mukesh.
My name is Mukesh Khatri, and I am 14 years old. And Aditya did give a really accurate and flattering introduction. I'd like to thank him for that and for his accurate and factual speech on saving nature. Today, I'm going to be giving a speech, but first, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Good. Today, I will be talking about tribalism. Specifically, I'd like to cover 3 main points. My first point is, what is tribalism? My second point is how to spot tribalism in your everyday lives. My third and final point is what we can do to stop tribalism. Okay. For my first point, I'm going to be talking about what tribalism is. If you've heard my points, it sounds like a disease or a virus. Or if you've managed to break down the word, it sounds like a bunch of cavemen yelling things like "Ooga chaka." It is kind of like cavemen. Speaking of cavemen, who remembers when cavemen invented scissors? No one? Back then it was cutting edge technology. So what is tribalism? Tribalism is loyalty to one's social group to the point where you're ignoring things and being derogatory of the other social groups. We see tribalism a lot in our everyday lives. Isn't loyalty good though? I've always heard that loyalty is a great thing. But the thing with tribalism is loyalty to the point where you're defending your group for things that you probably wouldn't be defending, and you are attacking the other group for not being in your group. This is why tribalism is a bad thing. It's a bad social dynamic between groups. My second point is, what are some examples of tribalism and what can we do and how we can spot tribalism in our everyday lives? Who thinks they've seen examples of tribalism in their everyday lives? Maybe every day. Everyone. Put your hands way in the air. Yes, you have seen it every day. Tribalism is really anything that's intolerant of other people, regardless of what they have to say. This includes things like racism, sexism, religious intolerance, bigotry. Those all under tribalism, because your group is working against the other group. So, it's tribalism. Tribalism is a huge issue if you've seen, like, the examples. It's everywhere. Tribalism is probably the most destructive force on the planet. More than global warming, more dangerous than a polar bear, probably more dangerous than a bacteriophage. Tribalism is the most powerful force on the planet. So now, I'd like to give ways we can stop tribalism. I believe the first way to work against tribalism is to in the society as a whole is to address tribalism within yourself. Now, who thinks they do experience feelings of tribalism within themselves? Everyone. Up in the air. Everyone does. And if you admit it, you're probably showing less tribalism than those that don't admit it. You're on your way there. How can we work to show less tribalism? The first way is to be an individual. Tribalism is a lot like the mob mentality, in that people lose themselves in the tribe or mob and start saying things they shouldn't. Being an individual, you analyze your decisions yourself before saying something that you might not really mean to say. Tribalism, to work against tribalism, you have to question everything. Question your deepest assumptions, because one assumption, it may seem simple, but if you're yelling at people for that, because of that assumption the next day, is it really minor? Always be afraid to question everything, because remember, nothing is so sacred that it justifies something which is wrong. To stop tribalism, you have to be kind. I know, treating others like people is one of the best ways to avoid treating others like they're not people. Yeah, I just had a brilliant insight. Being kind stops tribalism directly because you're being kind. And finally, understand the opposing viewpoint. If you understand the logical decisions that guide a person to their thinking, then you might be less tempted to judge them for their thinking. Because you know why. Because everyone has a reason, though some make sense and some make less sense, but everyone has a reason, which has to be understood. To combat tribalism within society as a whole, you should work to explain this concept to your friends and their friends, and then soon it's like a chain reaction. Somewhat like how a virus takes hold of something. Chain reaction. And I hope that this chain spreads everywhere, because, dear God, America needs it.
Oh yeah.
Today, I've talked about 3 points. What tribalism is, examples of tribalism, and what we can do to stop tribalism. I chose this topic because tribalism is, as I said, the most powerful force in the world and an extremely powerful thing, and it's bad. If I could end all the world's problems with one wish, any world problem, I think I'd end tribalism. Polar bears, the environment, they all came close, but with tribalism, people would be unfair, and these problems would show up again. Tribalism is humanity's age-old enemy created by humanity. Thanks for listening.
Awesome.